So we can see many parts on this in the scriptures. We can see that there in the Vedas and the Shrutis that they stress the basically the oneness between the Supreme Lord and the living entities, which Mayavadis have exploited since time immemorial. So my point here is to try to understand why does the Shruti actually talk so much about oneness also. Like it talks about difference, abheda, and it talks about oneness also. So a difference, that is bheda, and also oneness, abheda. So why does the Shruti talk so much about the oneness? What could be the purpose of Shruti reminding that all the living entities, you are the same supreme, like not the same supreme Brahman, you are part of the Brahman, you are like actually this ultimately you're qualitatively one with him, you're one with him, you're one with him. So why does it speak like that? There is no difference between you and him and stuff like that. Qualitatively, of course, we understand that. So what is the purpose behind that? So let us try to understand. This phenomena basically is a very special phenomena, the oneness between the Lord and the living entity. So it's achintya in the sense that there is no material example by which, or metaphor, or by which we'll understand this phenomena, because this phenomena is unique in the spiritual world. There are some metaphors which will try to relate that. In the spiritual world, the living entity and Krishna have a very unique relationship. Okay, now that relationship is like the living entity feels himself. He doesn't make a distinction between himself and Krishna. In the sense, let's take the example in the material world of a mother. Okay, now imagine there is a mother and there is a child in the womb of the mother. Now, in the womb of the mother, there is a child. The mother actually feels that the child is a part of her own self. She doesn't make a distinction that the child is separate from her own body, or she's separate from. Although the living entity, a child as a living entity is separate from the mother, but because there is a physical connection, there is a emotional connection, there is a mental connection, Sat Chit Ananda connection. Of course, the physical connection is the real connection. The emotional and the mental connections are on just like superimposed kind of. The mother just feels emotionally attached to the child and stuff like that. There's no real physical emotional connection. There's no the mind of the child and the mind of the mother are not really connected to each other, or the emotions of the child and the emotions of the mother are not physically connected to each other. So that doesn't happen in the material world, but overall the mother feels emotionally connected to the child. So when the child gets hurt, the mother gets hurt, she's so attached to the child. She feels the child to be her own self. She doesn't consider the child to be separate from her own self. So that kind of oneness, if you see. And also, as long as the child is within the mother, we refer to the child and the mother as the mother itself, right? We don't consider the child as separate from the mother. Because the child is connected to the mother, she is within the womb of the mother. So although it's a different living entity, it has its own thought process and stuff like that. But we still consider when the mother and the child, when the pregnant lady comes, we say that the lady has come. We don't say the lady and the child has come or they have come. We say she has come, right? Similarly, when Vyasadeva saw the absolute truth, he saw apashyat purusham purnam, and in purusham purnam everything was included. The pure devotees were included, and the shaktis were included. Radharani was there, everybody was there, the spiritual world was there. Why? Because it's integrated to the Supreme Lord, and as long as it's connected and integrated, just like as well the leaves and the branches of the tree are connected to the tree, we don't identify them separately as there is a tree and there is branches and there is leaf. We just say them. We just saw the tree, that's it. Or the moon and the moonlight and the fire and the heat. We don't say that today there was fire and then there was heat and there was light. We don't say like that. We just say that there was fire and I got burned by fire, because heat and light is included in the fire. Now of course that is the internal potency, but as living entities also in the spiritual world, we are part of the internal potency, but we are like different from the internal potency like Radharani and the Samvit Shakti and the Ladini Shakti and the Yogamaya Shakti. All of them are very integrated with Krishna, in a sense they are their own Shaktis of Krishna, although they are also individuals, but they're infinite like Krishna himself, whereas we are infinitesimal like sparks. Okay, so but the point is there, that's like a child and the mother, like when they're closely integrated in the womb, we identify the child with the mother. We don't identify the child as having separate interest from the mother, right? And basically the child, when the mother feeds, the child also gets nourished. So it's a very close intimate connection, and if the mother gets hurt, the child is hurt also. If the mother dies, the child also dies, kind of, most of the time. So in the same way, in the spiritual world, world, the living entity, although it's an individual, it's separate, it's Swarat, it's independent, but it identifies itself with Krishna, just like as much as a mother would identify herself with. So just like a mother would identify herself with a child, if the child is hurt, the mother is hurt, and she loves the child so much. In the same way, the living entity loves Krishna so much in the spiritual world, and he has a physical connection. Now this is where it changes. He has a physical connection with Krishna. That means his own part of his body comes from the Sandhini Shakti of Lord Krishna. His own mind or chit comes from the chit of Lord Krishna, or the Samvit Shakti of Lord Krishna, and his own emotions, which are actually the emotions of the living entity, also come from the emotions of Krishna, that is Ladini Shakti. Now in the spiritual world, this whole thing that happens is different from the material. So there is no material example, because the emotions of Krishna is a person, that is Ladini. Similarly, the mind of Krishna is a person, and also the body of Krishna is also a person, Sandhini Shakti. So that doesn't. So we have got Sat Chit Ananda within us. So we are physically connected to Krishna in the spiritual world. Emotionally, actually, real emotionally connected. It's not like we are just like superimposing our emotions, like a mother is superimposing her emotions on the child. Like if the child is happy, the mother is happy, but it need not be happy. Because she. If the mother is happy, the child need not be but she superimposes, so she becomes happy when the child is happy. But in the spiritual world, because the emotions of Lord and our emotions are connected together physically, when the Lord is happy, we actually become happy. So although we are individuals in spiritual world, our emotions, our mind and our body are connected to Lord. We are part of our emotions are part of Lord's emotions. Our body is a part of Lord's body, and our mind is a part of Lord. It's physical actually, and that's why, like a part of the tree is non-different from the tree. That's why in the Shastras, the Abheda part is stressed, where it's many places it says that you are non-different from Krishna, to remind us. So the whole material world is that we have somehow artificially, it's not real, it's like using some Maya or that which is not, we have artificially disconnected ourselves from Krishna. Although it is not possible to be artificially disconnected from Krishna, our Sat Chit Ananda cannot be disconnected from Krishna, Sat Chit Ananda, because we are part of his thing. But somehow, because we had a fight with Krishna, we now have artificially disconnected by superimposing the Sat Chit and Ananda with Sattva Guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna, which is the material world. So we superimpose these three states on and then we identify with those material ingredients, and somehow or the other and in that fashion we actually disconnect ourselves from Krishna. Basically, the Sandhini, Samvit and Ladini is overridden by Sattva, Raja and Tama, which are three energies which act in a different way, and which tend to be acting in an independent way from Krishna, something like that. So it's like a transformed energy. So because of that, we feel disconnection, or we feel our interests are separate from Krishna. There is a conception of false ego, where we think that my interests are separate from Krishna's interests. Krishna's happiness has nothing to do with my happiness. I have my separate happiness, and Krishna has his own happiness. My interests are separate, Krishna's interests are separate. So we in fact forget God. We don't even know that God exists. All this is like unnatural, because actually we are in a sleeping or dreaming state, because our real Sat Chit and Ananda can never be disconnected from Krishna. It can only be like put in a dreaming state, where we think that we are we belong to Sattva, Raja and Tama, which are like kind of, they are also not disconnected from Krishna, but they are transformed energies of Krishna. So in some way they are like not directly connected, they are indirectly connected to Krishna. So basically they are also more or less connected, but we get the feeling that they're not connected to Krishna, basically, something like that. So in the material world, what happens, because of this artificial situation, we consider ourselves to be disconnected and separate from Krishna. So the Vedas keep reminding us, you're not disconnected, you are one with Krishna, you are the same with Krishna, you are the same as Krishna. Why? Because they want to make you to identify yourself with Krishna, because that's how you were existing in the spiritual world, that your interests were Krishna's interest. His happiness was your happiness. The way he thought was how you thought. Basically, you wanted to just like, if he wants to do something, you also want to do the same thing. You want to assist him in doing that same thing, So such kind of existence doesn't happen actually in the material world, because just like imagine you had a hand and your body, so a tree and branches. Now, basically we know that the body is controlled by the soul actually. So all the parts of the body are dead. But imagine that body was alive, and all the parts were also cognizant. individuals. Like the hand is a cognizant individual, the stomach is a cognizant individual, and everybody is trying to serve the stomach. Imagine they were cognizant individuals with individuality. What would happen? So although they are, right now this cannot happen. It can only happen when the soul is there, and soul controls all the body. But here, imagine they were individuals. Each one had individuality. And if each one had an individual existence, then the hand would be serving the stomach out of individual, because it was his interest, because he's connected to the stomach. He can only be happy when the stomach is happy. But he's an individual also. The hand is also an individual. So such kind of examples cannot be there in the material world. But in the spiritual world, we are all individuals. Krishna's own thought process is an individual. We are part of that, Krishna's emotions, thought, and his body. All three are individuals, separate. Like, they are one with Krishna, but they are individuals also. Like Sandhini Shakti is a devotee of Krishna. Samvit Shakti is a devotee of Krishna. She is a Shakti. And Ladini is also a devotee of Krishna, Radharani. So his own emotions is a personality. So that kind of stuff doesn't happen in the material world. Okay. So the emotions of the person is a personality, and those three personalities, the three devotees, combine, and they are ontologically, not chronologically. We are existing always with Krishna, but ontologically as a source, these three energies also form all the energies in the universe. Parasar Shaktir Vividhe Vishruyate. So these energies are also Satchit and Ananda. Sandhini, Samvit and Ladini also are form the soul. So we are physically connected to Krishna through Sandhini. We are emotionally connected to Krishna through Ladini, and our mind is connected to Krishna's mind through Samvit. But because we are product and he is the source, so we are controlled and he is the controller. So we cannot understand what is going on in Krishna's mind, or we cannot actually understand Krishna's emotion in full. Okay, but what we can do is, Krishna can understand our mind. It's one way. It's not like it's not a two-way situation. Krishna can understand a mind, and whereas in the emotion part of the soul, Krishna's emotion, Krishna, when Krishna becomes happy, we become happy. So his emotions, we are connected to each other. And when Krishna thinks about something, we want to do that. Like, so that way, we with Krishna's desire, we can understand. Like, just like Arjuna and all these people, they can understand Krishna's desire. He speaks from within their mind. So his mind and their mind are connected. But of course, they don't know what is there in Krishna's mind. But Krishna can communicate through his mind. I want to do this, and they can actually feel that in their mind. Like Yudhishthira, when he saw marry Draupadi, he said the thought came in my head. That means Krishna was telling that thought, because there is no other thought can come in my head. Because he's a pure devotee of Krishna. So he has a hotline connection with Krishna. So whatever they do is because Krishna inspires them to do that. When Garudji is eating meat, it's because Krishna inspires him. He tells him, I want you to eat meat. So within his heart, within his thought, he gets the thought that I should eat meat, and he knows. And then when he eats basically all these snakes, then Krishna says, oh, this is the part of the Leela, that's fine, I'm happy. So when Krishna gets happy, Garudji is also happy. So that's how Yoga Maya works. In spiritual world, all happiness is connected. When Krishna is happy, he is satisfied, every living entity becomes satisfied. There is Ladini Shakti. And when Krishna thinks something, every living entity works towards fulfilling the thought of Krishna. And physically, every living entity is connected to Krishna, because they feel that Krishna's they're connected to Krishna physically also. They're part of Krishna, Sandhini. So in that sense, there is a very, very special non-difference existing between us and Krishna. Okay. Now, when in the material world, the whole material world exists because we think ourselves to be separate from Krishna. We have disconnected our Sandhini, we have disconnected our thought process from Krishna's thought process, and we have disconnected our emotions from Krishna's emotions. So basically, because of this reason, because of that independence Swarat means we have got that minute independence. And what does it mean by minute independence? Swarat. Minute independence means we have individuality. That is what is known as independence, basically. So basically, a hand doesn't have independence. When we desire, we want to eat something, the hand has to work. It's dead, basically. It's not alive. But when we are alive and we have our own cognizance and our own, like, basically we have our own individuality, that is known as individuality, basically. So because we are individuals and we have individuality, or that individuality is known as Swarat, basically. And Abhigya is basically Abhigya Swarat. Tene Brahm Janmadyasya Yatonvaya Dhitara Chatheshva Bhigya Swarat. So that Abhigya and Swarat part of us is like the individuality and cognizance. So here we can understand the point that the living entity actually is also an individual, and because he's an individual, he may have some kind of, like, so that's a very, very inconceivable situation where he can choose not to he can choose to disconnect from that whole situation. Actually he in the spiritual world, he actually identifies Krishna's body as his own body, like in the sense not as his own body in that way, but he identifies, like, if Krishna's body is hurt or something, like he immediately feels as if his own body is hurt, like he has that, he feels the pain of Krishna, and he wants Krishna, when Krishna is happy, he's happy. So everything, there is a extraordinarily oneness in the spiritual world, where he doesn't have a separate interest. Separateness is not there. And the material world, the false ego means all about separateness. So that's the reason why we are here in the material world, because we want to be separate. The separateness is there. I have my own happiness, I have my own thought, I have my own emotions, separate from Krishna's emotions. So there, just like a mother and child, imagine multiply it by trillions and trillions of times more, physically make it physical, actually mother. So the moment child is hurt, mother is hurt. Mother is only thinking of the child. The mother is not no other interest. She only feels the child's body to be her own body. And if like that, so that kind of relation we had with, like, we were like mother of Krishna. Imagine we were like serving Krishna in a motherly relationship. That was a relationship basically, that we didn't have separate interest. We never considered Krishna's body as separate from our own body. In fact, our own body was not that important, but Krishna's body was more important to us. So we identified so much with Krishna that, but with the individuality, but with the separateness. Like, it's not that Krishna enjoys with Radharani, we will also enjoy with Radharani. We are enjoying through Krishna, like, not like that, but in a different way. Like, we just like a mother, when he sees a child is married with somebody, she's happy. So that kind of relationship, so you have to understand it through this, but much more intimate. The mother is not physically connected to child anymore. Mother is not like, umbilical cord is cut and she's not physical, but in the spiritual world we are physically connected to Krishna. And even now in the material world also we are physically connected to Krishna, but that is in a dream state. We think that we are disconnected from Krishna. That is a dream. That's something which doesn't exist. That is Maya. But actually we are physically always eternally connected to Krishna. So through our physics, through physics, that is Sandhini, and through our mind is connected to Krishna's mind, and our emotions are connected to Krishna's emotions. So technically speaking, we are one with Krishna. Since the body, mind and emotions are basically make up a person, so then what's the difference between us and Krishna? Only difference is that the minute independence, that individuality which exists. So that is the only thing with in the material world. When we identify like the tree and the branch, or on the body and the parts, there is no individuality, there is no independent existence, like the tree and the branch. The branch is the part of the tree. The soul controls everything, common soul, so there is no the branches don't have individuality. But in the spiritual world, even the Shaktis, even the thought of the mind of Krishna is an individual known as Samvit Shakti. Even so that kind of existence doesn't happen in the material world. That's why it's Achintya. There is no example in the material world. So we only have to understand. Jiva Goswami says Achintya doesn't mean that we cannot understand, but it means that we have to take the words of the scripture as it is and accept it. So imagine you have a hand and you have a body. And we know that it's inconceivable to think that the hand has its own thought process and it has its own individuality. It is not possible. But in spiritual world, the hand of Krishna's hand can have its own thought process, like that. And Krishna's chakra can have its own thought process. Krishna's Shankha can have its own individual. So everybody is individual there, like, and Krishna is like beautiful. Like, of course, Krishna's hand is directly Vishnu Tattva, Krishna himself. So that's a difference, like Balram, Krishna, and so there is a difference there. There is no separate individuality in Vishnu Tattvas, basically speaking. Although it's just like, for Leela purposes, he actually under Yogamaya, Krishna also starts thinking he's a different person and stuff like that. But he is one person. So there is no separate ego or consciousness that I am different. So individuality doesn't exist between Vishnu Tattvas themselves. Like between Gopinath and Jagannath, there is no individuality, separate individuality existing. Whereas in Shaktis it does exist. Like when Shakti and Shaktiman, like when Krishna's own thought is individual person, his own emotions is an individual. Radharani, she is an individuality, his own emotions, and his own body, Sandhini Shakti, is also an individual. So like that. So that is how the spiritual world is wired. And when you understand the wiring of the spiritual world, then you understand what do you mean by non-difference from Krishna. That is how we are non-different from Krishna. So technically we are non-different because we are physically, mentally and emotionally connected to Krishna. And since we are connected to Krishna physically, mentally and emotionally, his emotions are we become happy. His thought process is actually our thought process. We don't have separate, we in the spiritual world we have the same thought process, and we have the same body also, like Krishna's body, and qualitatively it's one with Krishna, the body of Krishna. So that way, technically speaking, there should be no difference, but there is only one difference, and that one difference, Bheda, is the individuality. That is the only difference. We are individuals, and that individuality is known as independence, minute independence. So that minute independence or individuality is the only thing which causes bheda. Basically, there is a difference between us and him. Otherwise, between Vishnu Tattvas, there is no individuality in the sense that between one Vishnu Tattva and another Vishnu Tattva, there is no Swarat, there is no separate existence, there is no independence. They are all the same people, one person at all. There is no difference. So that is Vishnu Tattva. So once we understand this, we understand the connection between the soul and the spiritual world, and why the scriptures are saying that you are one, you are not different. You and the Lord are the one. There is no difference. You have to understand that, because what do you mean by difference? Difference means when you're different, you're not different at all. Your mind, emotions, everything is Krishna's, part of Krishna's. So since it's part of Krishna and we're connected to Krishna, so the connection is such a strong connection that we can say that it's one person actually. But there is individuality. There is that independence, and that minute independence is misused, and we want to be separate from Krishna. We want to be completely different. We don't want to be part of this, and which is not possible, because his mind is our part. Our mind is a part of his mind. How can it be possible? So because we are individuals, somehow, inconceivably, somehow or the other, this is possible that we can disconnect ourselves from Krishna through Maya, basically a dream-like state where we think that our thought is different from Krishna's thought, our happiness is separate from Krishna's happiness. That is known as false ego, basically the layer of the dream layer which is created from the elements, and from the false ego comes the spiritual material body which is known as Adhyatmika Sharira, and from false ego comes the material world which is Tamoguna, and Adhyatmika Sharira is Rajoguna, and the entering into the material dream happens through Sattvaguna, through the mind, and through the mind we enter into the dream world, and inside of the dream world you have a dream body, and then we have a dream gross situation inside the material world, and then we enjoy the material world separate from Krishna, as if we are disconnected from Krishna. So that's the only possibility. So that is the oneness. So now, why is this another reason why Shastra is continuously talking about oneness between us, and not continuously talking, many times it's talking, because the whole purpose of the Vedas is to liberate us from the material existence. The Vedas want to liberate us completely from the material existence. And how can one get liberated from the material? We know that what is the material existence? She is known as Mahamaya, Maya. So from the words Maya cha tadap ashrayam, we know that there is three things that Vyasadeva saw. One is Purna Purushottam, one is Maya, and one is living entity. So he only saw those living entities which were not in Purna Purushottam. Like, Purna Purushottam included everything. Jiva Goswami says that is pure devotees, Radharani, Shaktis, everything is their part of spiritual world. Everything is part of the Purna Purushottam. Just like fire, heat, light is part of fire only. Actually, heat, light, everything else. So the moonlight is same as moon. So the pure devotees are part of Krishna's entourage. They are part of Krishna's, just like a child is within the mother womb of the mother. The child is not identified separately as child and mother. We always say mother. That means the child is also there, because the child is within the womb of the mother. Only when the child comes out of the womb and disconnects and the umbilical cord is cut, then we say the mother and child are different people. We identify. So that is what the Jiva. When we define Jiva or Tathastha Shakti, that is basically the living entity who is actually has separated from Krishna. And Yaya Sammohito Jiva, that happens with only the Tatastha Shakti, the Shakti, the living entity who has disconnected from Krishna. When he disconnects from Krishna, he comes under the purview of two energies. One is Yogamaya, one is Mahamaya. So in the material world, he is constantly seeing Krishna, he is seeing deities of Krishna, he sees temple of Krishna. So that is Yogamaya part, which he actually sees. But at the same time, he is seeing the material world, everything. So Mahamaya. So there are two energies, and he is always existing in between two of them. He sometimes sees Krishna, he sometimes sees matter, like that. Sometimes you go to temple, sometimes you go in the material world. So it's like that. But when pure devotee like Prabhupada come, they never see any matter. Vasudevam Sarvamiti, everything is Krishna. So they are always in the internal energy. Purna Purushat, Apashyat Purna Purushat. So they are never harassed by Maya. Okay. So now the point is, why the Shastra keeps on telling you are one with Krishna, you are one with Krishna, you are one with Krishna, is because of the fact that the moment we start identifying ourselves as part of Krishna, as and we start identifying Krishna's interest as our interest, Krishna's happiness as our happiness, which happens in the asakti stage of bhakti, when Krishna's happiness becomes our happiness. So at that point, technically we become liberated, because when we start identifying ourselves with Krishna, Maya cannot, Mahamaya, when she looks at Krishna, she becomes Yogamaya. So when she looks at you and you are identifying yourself with Krishna, she can no longer attack you. She becomes docile, she becomes Yogamaya. So this is the point, to liberate. The Vedas want to liberate you, and the moment you identify yourself with Krishna, Like how you used to do in the spiritual world, just like a mother and child. When you identify with yourself with Krishna, you become part of Krishna's entourage. You become apashyat purusham purnam. You become part of the apashyat purusham purnam. You become part of Krishna's entourage. And then Maya is no longer, she is apashyat purusha. She is like apashrayam. She is taking shelter behind Krishna. She is hiding. So she starts hiding. She becomes Yogamaya. I mean, in front of Krishna, she is Yogamaya. And when Krishna is not there, when there is a separateness, she is Mahamaya. So because the Vedas want to liberate you, they keep on telling, identify yourself with Krishna. You are not different from Krishna. Try to understand, you are Krishna. In the sense, you are one. You are try to understand your oneness with Krishna. So the moment the living entity starts to understand the oneness with Krishna, his relation with Krishna, that he is part of Krishna, that Krishna is his, he is Krishna's, like that. So he starts identifying himself with, the moment he does that, the Maya can no longer become Mahamaya, she becomes Yogamaya, and he is liberated. So the whole purpose of Vedas is to liberate a living entity, and this is possible when the living entity starts identifying himself with Krishna's, as a part of Krishna, as a entourage of Krishna, as Purna Purushottam Krishna, Apashyat Purusham Purnam. So Maya can no longer be in front of him. She immediately becomes Yogamaya. She disappears, Mahamaya, and becomes Yogamaya, transforms into Yogamaya. And the living entity is liberated. And that's the reason why Abheda part is stressed in the Vedas. Otherwise, there is no need for stressing Abheda. Bheda is enough, actually. There is no need to keep on stressing about Abheda in the Vedas, because the Vedas want to liberate us. The Vedas want to liberate us from Mahamaya, and the only way to liberate us from Mahamaya is to make her into Yogamaya. And that is only possible when you identify, when she sees Krishna. When she sees Krishna, she becomes Yogamaya. So when you identify yourself with Krishna, as if you are a part of Krishna, so she can no longer attack any part of Krishna. Like you sit in Krishna's lap, and then Maya cannot attack you. Finished. So you have to identify yourself as a part of Krishna. So that is the Abheda part. That is why it's not. And Mayavadis somehow they remove that minute independence, they remove it, and they say that everything is one. So that is the point where they try to confuse everybody else. And this is where they get confused, and they say that there is no minute independence also. So yes, we are physically one with Krishna, mentally one with Krishna, emotionally. So if it's physically, mentally and emotionally one with any other living entity, literally we would definitely say that there is no difference between the two. But yes, but there is an individuality, and that is achintya. That individuality or the minute independence is existing, and that thing is achintya. And how it can happen only happens in the spiritual world, in the reality. In the material world, such kind of things don't happen. When we emotionally, physically and mentally one with another object, then that objects are same. Actually, they are like body parts, or there are some things like that. So they don't have separate existence. But in the spiritual world, they can have separate individuality also. And that part Mayavadis cannot understand. And that oneness is there. And that oneness, when the living entity understands, and that separateness, that false ego is removed, and he says that my interests are not separate from Krishna's interest, he starts identifying, he starts seeing Krishna's interest as his own interest. Like just like he doesn't see difference between Krishna's body and his like he starts like protecting Krishna's body. He tries to feed Krishna's body. He wants to make Krishna happy. So his interest, he doesn't think about his own self. His own self becomes Krishna, basically. Krishna, he wants to serve Krishna, although he has his own individuality. So when that state comes, so Maya starts looking at that living entity as one with Krishna, and she becomes Yogamaya immediately. So, and you are liberated. So that to liberation, this is essential, this understanding this Abheda part. That's why the Shastras are stressing the Abheda part. But the Mayavadis have misunderstood this whole thing, and they have made one person totally identical. Just like Vishnu Tattvas are no individuality, no independence. In the same way, they try to equate the Jiva Tattva with Vishnu Tattva, and that is how the whole problem happens. And this is the Achintya part, basically. Hare Krishna.